Grand Chief visits Madang for political rally. Ethnic groups set date to compensate death. And Commissioner lifts ban on training of new recruits.
This is National MTV News with Miriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare was swamped by hundreds of well-wishers in Madang as he arrived as guest at the Pangu provincial visit. This is the last of his many public engagements as he prepares to end his long 50-year career in politics. Madang was a strategic location in the early days of politics when Sir Michael sought a young team to push for independence under the Pangu party banner.
A hero's welcome, with Garamuts announcing the arrival of Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare at the Pangu party gathering in Madang this morning. While commentators will remain split for years over the positives and the negatives of the Somare administration, he still commands enormous public respect. This is one of several engagements before Parliament says goodbye to the veteran politician.
Bayu mi sensi plus playu mi, on marang isanabian lumi, mi almas. Big blood, thank you, Drew.
In the 60s and 70s, Madang was an important piece of the puzzle. Sir Michael called on Madang leaders like Sir Angmai Bilas to support him in the independence move. Now, at the end of his 50-year political career, the veteran politician, still the tactician, has thrown his support behind the party he founded.
Madang, thank you, Drew.
Is also backing the candidacy of his daughter Dalciana for the seat he now holds, the East Sepik Regional. While Pangu has maintained it's not a campaign, its policies are being shared for public scrutiny. Among the objectives are agriculture, LLG support and stringent budget control.
Plan the political party only come up in Nupla, also a copycat na paste. Only some still in policy, but not a party. So me asking Papua New Guinea now, this 45 or 46 party leader before Sanapla, I you must question him all.
Pangu's arrival in Madang comes on the back of another interesting development overnight. The Grand Chief's National Alliance Party leader and Treasury Minister Patrick Pruach has come out slamming the PNC-led government for economic mismanagement.
It seems like the economy has virtually fallen off a cliff under the present government.
Pruach has also put his hand up to be Prime Minister in what he envisions as a National Alliance-led government after the July elections.
I wish to assure you all that if the people of this country, through your efforts and success in this election, give us the mandate and as your leader to be the next Prime Minister, I will be guided by one overriding principle, and that is, as a government, we will adopt a people's first policy.
But even after the lengthy statement delivered yesterday, Pruach is being hammered on social media, with Papua New Guineans questioning why the Treasurer, a key policy maker, is cutting ties with the PNC after defending what he knew was falling apart. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Madang.
Before leaving for Madang, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare gave his exit speech on Friday as the founder of the National Alliance Party. The father of the nation told NA candidates to be loyal to their parties because this was crucial for political stability. He also apologized to the party and explained his reasons for crossing the floor during the vote of confidence last year.
The man dubbed Father of the Nation, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, said in his 41 years in PNG politics, respecting leadership was key.
Kami kama parliamentary leader, long one party before me lead him, 9 members of the Summit Simon Parliament, and we talk about. Kami put him left, you mean wrong. Kami go swim, people swim one time. Leader by you walking on.
Sir Michael also apologized to the party for crossing over during the vote of no confidence last year, saying he was unhappy with certain decisions made by the Prime Minister.
Me like apologize to party, Lily apologize to me also. Last time Me no been agree with them Prime Minister because me been got thinking by leader of the party me mas stop long bell blowing. No kat. Emi tanim bell blowing lig na aswa. Something me like him long and make him I mean walk him. Or na last vote me vote against him.
He encouraged the candidates to do good for the people who give them the mandate to represent them in Parliament. When saying this, he acknowledged the people of East Sepik Province, thanking them for giving him unwavering support, electing him since 1968. He urged NA to stick by its policies.
That's all. Good plan. You may finish now, but you may go long election. That's the next few weeks. It's your hard work. You have to work extra hard. No can give him plenty promise. Dr. Solosem, party got passing me play, put him before. If you must bear him, maror blow you me, custom blow you me. What if something? Custom blow you me, custom blow party. What if something party been Dr. Ologen?
As the Grand Chief bows out when this 9th Parliament rises, he said he will be available when NA needs his assistance. In the meantime, Sir Michael has been invited by fellow veteran Sir Julius Chen to visit New Ireland Province to talk about his vast experiences in PNG politics. Deli Waigeno, National, MTV News.
Papua New Guinea is 19 days away from the issue of writs. The National Alliance Party has prepared over 60 candidates from around the country to carry the NA flag into the 2017 national general elections. NA held its induction day on Friday, where party executives, including party founder, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, encouraged the candidates to work hard during these crucial times.
The National Alliance Party commissioned over 60 candidates, including its sitting MPs, on Friday. Official photographs were taken in the party colors, and the candidates were issued the party's policies and constitution and the leader's code of conduct in preparation for the national election. Party founder Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare has already announced his exit from politics. This year, the NA candidate who will contest the East Sepik regional seat is businessman Alan Bird. Sir Michael encouraged the party to maintain its fighting spirit.
Today, you like sim talk. But you play go long election, you play go out. You go talk straight long. What if something party stand up long?
National Alliance hit its lowest point in August of 2011 during the political impasse. Party President Walter Schnobelt, who will be contesting the Namatanai open seat, said since 2012, NA deliberately took the decision not to be distracted by anything, maintaining its loyalty in the current government as coalition partner to the ruling People's National Congress Party.
Election 2017 is here. We, National Alliance, are here. And we have prepared ourselves to win as many seats we can this election. NA is a known product. It is a party others can trust. It is a party that remains committed to its word in good times and in tough times.
NA party leader Patrick Pruich said an NA-led government would operate under a people-first policy to improve living standards of the general population.
An NA-led government will also be committed to ensuring a competitive and modern legislative framework for our resource sector to ensure Papua New Guinea remains an attractive destination for foreign direct investment. One of the most beneficial and effective ways of improving living standards by obtaining adequate resources for service delivery.
Mr. Schnobelt said NA will now intensify its efforts to win through all of its candidates. The induction program on Friday ended with the launch of the party's campaign. Deli Waigeno, National, MTV News.
The Chief Ombudsman, Michael Dick, says all intending candidates in this year's election is to see the watchdog as a partner in service delivery. He made these comments while speaking at the NA caucus yesterday.
The newly appointed Chief Ombudsman used the opportunity to respond to comments made on the floor of Parliament earlier this week about the Ombudsman Commission seen as an obstacle to the use of DSIP funds. His address at the NA caucus yesterday was on the leadership code. He laid out what he called the 10 commandments, which included declaring conflict of interest, submitting annual statements, and entering into government contracts without relevant approvals. Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
Yeah, with National MTV News, we'll have more stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. A date has been set for two ethnic groups in Port Moresby for a compensation ceremony over a recent death. The incident happened last week when a PMV bus owned by a Western Highlander ran over a youth, killing him instantly at Vada Vada. An official from the mediation team says the two ethnic groups have shown maturity by not taking the law into their own hands.
The accident last week almost ended in the two sides clashing, but proper consultation by community leaders resulted in a meet to compensate the death. This week, the two groups met under the supervision of police and mediation officers to air their views and reconcile for a payment to the victim's family.
Next week Thursday, me come on and bell call. This time suppose bell, one bell. And by you talk out loud this law, so one bell on this law. Or suppose you one bell, and by you talk out loud this law. Thursday next week, and by you me finish him.
Relatives of the deceased say compensation will be discussed later, but an upfront payment must be paid to repatriate the body to Southern Highlands.
You come law. Demand me give 100,000 and you misalam body go.
Traffic and police are also investigating the death of the youth, with a report to be handed to both parties. The victim's family believe options of penalizing the bus crew may be decided later following the completion of the police investigation.
You mean talk about the compensation? All this number you me talk so.
The incident happened last week at Vada Vada as the victim was crossing the road behind a PMV when another bus hit the youth, killing him instantly. The two groups will meet again next Thursday. Jack Lapava Jr., National MTV News.
An NGO is going a step further in making sure traditional resource owners in PNG understand and apply resource laws in the country. The Centre for Environmental Law and Community Rights has refined their legal education manual to make PNG laws accessible to rural communities.
CELCO is one of the NGOs in the forefront of advocating landowner rights in the country. Over the last 16 years, they have worked to ensure landowners overcome the obstacle of understanding resource laws and their application. They have refined the training manuals they use to conduct awareness on the different resource laws in the country.
These are tools that we use to train our people out in rural communities who need to know about the resource governance and also need to know about how they can resolve conflicts related to land use and how they can manage these conflicts over time, and also for communities to address issues, and they cannot come to court, but they can solve these issues at the community level.
The past years, the participants' workbook is designed in a way where it's participatory. As we also stated, that the target is for resource communities. So we're looking at communities that don't have, it's target for communities that don't have a very high level of understanding, and it's been developed in a way where they can easily follow through and understand the law. Law is very difficult to understand, and we've done our best to break it down to the simplest form.
The latest resource books contain a trainer's guide and a participant's handbook.
We have Land Act as well, which is covered, forestry, marine, fisheries, all legislation enacted in PNG which covers natural resource is basically mentioned, or there are different modules in the books that assist people in our rural communities in better understanding what rights they have under each legislation in terms of their resources.
Dr. Eric Kwa from the Constitutional Law Reform Commission described the resource books as an excellent and exciting resource because it is very simple to understand. People who are interested in this training can contact Selco on these numbers or contact Marjorie on this email address. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Executive Director of Selco, Peter Bossip, says the Titles Commission should cancel all illegal special agriculture business leases in the country. Adding to the debate this week on the floor of Parliament on the issue, Mr. Bossip says the government should go further in just announcing the cancellation of SABLs and ensure the titles are cancelled.
We welcome that, but we want to see that those titles that SABL list titles that are in this leaseholders, that must be forfeited completely. That must be formally forfeited, and then we know that the land is in the hands of the customary landowners again.
Youth with a Mission is making progress to deliver much-needed health services to PNG communities. Despite initially targeting Gulf and Western provinces in 2010, more and more provinces are now receiving YWAM's medical assistance. According to a YWAM official, the organization is getting more boats to expand their services.
Manageress Julie McLaughlin says YWAM's aim to deliver health services has been a positive story for the non-government organization. She says YWAM medical SIPs have the capacity to overcome isolation and deliver health services.
We consider things to be going really well. It's accelerating at a fast pace. Our capacity to deliver services is increasing dramatically.
Often described as the floating hospital, YWAM is extending its routes to more coastal communities in the country. The mission started in Gulf and Western provinces that had poor health statistics.
And it's kind of exciting because right now we're looking at the possibility of operating 4 vessels within Papua New Guinea. Right now we operate 2, the YWAM PNG and the YWAM Pacific Link.
The government has closed bonds with YWAM following its capabilities of reaching more people in a short space of time. The medical boat recently visited East Sepik.
We've just been in East Sepik province where we did about 40,000 services in that province in the 5 months that we were there. And so that injected about 4 million kina into the rural sectors with basic medical care, eye surgeries, and dentistry.
West New Britain will be the next destination following a funding support of $500,000 kina this week in Port Moresby. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Locals from Papa and Lealea villages in the Kairukuhirik district will benefit from Orica's new Amex plant through royalty payments. This follows the commissioning of Orica's plant site in their area. The site will be used to process explosives before they can be shipped to the mining sites in the country. The plant is located about 3 kilometers away from the LNG site and was constructed after 3 years of dialogue with the locals. It now provides over 40 employment opportunities for locals and is seen as an important investment for villages in the Papa and Lealea area.
The idea of the Amex plant was to safely manufacture finished product for local consumption in PNG. Whereas before, customers would bring in their own ammonium nitrate uncontrolled by the Department of Labor's licensing. Now we can actually report and show consumption of explosives.
We were waiting for business opportunities to arise so that we could use our land for that purpose and generate some income and share it amongst the members in that clan group.
Residents of Dakota Place at 7 Mile in Port Moresby have armed themselves with shovels to fix the road leading into their homes. They say for years no proper road maintenance has been done by relevant authorities, and now they are taking actions into their own hands.
It's not every day you see city residents take up shovels to patch potholes and build drains. But for this small residential area at 7 Mile, they have been doing this for the last decade. Longtime resident Russell Hudson says he has not seen any road construction in the last 20 years.
We've been looking after this road ourselves for about the last 20 years.
Some 5-6 years ago, finish na. All walking all main roads, si kam go, loose tending all katalo, this last street blown play.
With Port Moresby currently experiencing wet weather, the road is getting from bad to worse.
Big rain here make him na. Waraya am kalabim sra road now come or big car you right as all ligri car city blow here am some the time all car blow bagraf na ordina sa go walk all airlines PNC na all big office line all city blow here am also got problem lo sra road or same na. Misa small mangi kam na la walk stop.
Now you got digging train now.
Yeah, now we dig him train na. Something make him na rain or big night or now afternoon and bagrab and tomorrow and by me walk him yet.
This road is one of many in residential areas throughout the city that are in dire need of maintenance. While the attention is given to freeways and main roads, city residents are appealing for the same attention.
Governor Blong NCD must come look good na check him this lab na by make him sapla tok lo all come na straight him this last street blown play.
Also, NCDC suppose I'm got chance to come here and help him I'm inside law city ya, outside. Airways hotel staff, gateway staff, na Granwell, I'm inside ya. Now road must clean, street must look nice.
It'd be nice to think if someone in the council can find it within themselves to get some work done up here. It'd be much appreciated.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
The people of Mahari constituency in the autonomous region of Bougainville are disappointed their roads have been neglected for years. Speaking to EMTV News in Kunwa, they called on the national government authorities to get their priorities right and focus on development. Fabian Hakalitz reports from Buka.
The West Coast Bougainville Main Road is one of the neglected roads in the autonomous region of Bougainville. Some of the bridges have deteriorated over time, making it difficult for accessibility when water level rises. Locals have felt the pinch and pain accessing such road conditions that has lacked proper maintenance.
Because all kita one all kita bridge me no good. Na suppose me pala go low down, me pala come back, and by me pala sabe come up night. Night lo kita na.
Women leaders like Vinesi have expressed frustrations on the failure by successive governments to bring development in this part of North Bougainville.
Because you usat go past man blow me pla, you can look lo me pla, lo this side lo road.
Member for Mahari constituency in the autonomous Bougainville government, John Tabinaman, assured the local people construction of the West Coast Bougainville Road will begin. However, they will begin with bridges.
Equipment or materials belong making this like Madang, Babano bridge, 8 container now is long together.
Mr. Tabinaman said priority projects will be implemented in the Mahari constituency, considering its importance to livelihood and economic development. In Buka, Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We have more after these messages. Welcome back to the news. The Papua New Guinea Defence Force has ventured into a 24 million kina deal with IPI Catering as its official caterer. The new partnership was officially announced yesterday by PNGDF Commander Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo in Port Moresby. The Brigadier General said it is critically important for the Defence Force, quoting French revolutionist Napoleon, that an army marches on its stomach. Meanwhile, IPI Chief Executive Officer Scott O'Reilly said his company is committed on feeding the troops with quality meals. He said IPI will install a range of processes and technologies at PNGDF messes throughout the country to meet legislated food safety standards. The contract was signed by newly appointed Governor General Bob Dadai last month and will continue for the next 5 years. The Police Training College in Bomana is expected to commence training for new recruits in June. The training was suspended early this year following numerous public complaints of bias and nepotism in the selection process.
The decision to suspend the 2017 recruitment for police was a directive from the Office of the Police Commissioner. It was issued after the RPNGC received numerous public complaints and accusations of bias and nepotism in the selection process. The suspension lasted for at least 3 months until it was recently lifted by the Commissioner.
We will be recommencing the training day in June. So by next month the call-out will go back to those that have been successful in the process.
Following the directive, a review team was established to evaluate the recruitment process. Police Commissioner Gary Baki said based on the findings, the suspension was lifted.
I'm satisfied with the reports that have been taken as a result of this and the work that's been undertaken to correct the recruitment process.
The suspension did not affect other training programs like the Officer Cadet training with the PNG Defence Force and the Correctional Services. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
A handcraft vendor in Leh says the business is growing and needs a designated venue for vendors to sell their handiwork. Mother of two, Mina Paman, says authorities need to build a suitable shelter for them to use and sell their work. Paman adds vendors are paying the city authority while selling on the streets.
Paman sells handcrafts like necklaces, hand laces and armbands. She supports her family from daily earnings with her own price range from each product.
Can you say 1 plus 3 kina or 5 kina something me pla making.
But she says authorities in Leh need to recognize such small businesses and build a proper place for them to vend.
Tax lo government every day your market almost pay 3 kina. Kind of same lo me pla by city council me pla got paper. Me pla market underneath lo city council na me pla sit down.
Meanwhile, at 6 Mile outside of the city, blind weaving is becoming a lucrative business. It takes vendors at least 3 days to weave a 3-meter blind wall. More people buy blinds from them as it is cheaper than timber.
Side blind blind me play all nar public to compare price blind on them plywood blind more cheapest na big long plywood can. So me say kissing plan the customer side blind. Also, 1 day I'm nearing me say also amas blind also even 30 or 40 blind say staff. Also rousing also customer say come na rousing all blind. Some blind also full load 1 load as well 1 man comes stop also passive.
But they also expressed similar sentiments over a designated venue where they can sell their products. Although a roadside market is the ideal spot for business, it is not safe.
Putting mosem lo side roti I mean alright mas so me need him some authority must give him some area or some me can display market me too.
Vendors say the business also has the potential to attract both local and international tourists into Leh. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Leh.
Turning overseas, a U.S. commander says there is a fair chance civilians were killed in the U.S.-led coalition airstrike in Mosul 11 days ago. Iraqi officials say 112 bodies were pulled from the rubble. Many of the victims could not escape the city because ISIS was using them as human shields. Coalition forces have been trying to regain control of Iraq's second-largest city since October.
The destruction here in western Mosul appears to be significantly more vast and widespread than it was in the eastern side. And you also see that there are a lot of these really narrow alleyways that wind deeper into the neighborhoods. And this is one of the main challenges that the security forces are facing. You barely see any civilians, but you do see the traces of the life that was, of how bustling these particular areas would have normally been. And part of the challenge when it comes to trying to protect the civilian population is that even though the Iraqi government did, yes, encourage people to stay put in their homes, even if they wanted to leave, they wouldn't have been able to because ISIS would not allow them to leave these neighborhoods. ISIS was holding everyone that lived across this entire city as human shields.
قبل ما تدخل القوات الأمنية بدأ يقل عددهم بكثرة.
He's saying that ISIS, as the forces were coming through, really began to decrease its presence, so at least this family felt that they could stay.
The second reason, my grandfather.
That's the other reason why they couldn't go, obviously, because it's very difficult for them to try to flee. The day before this area was liberated, ISIS took her husband away. They had no food left, and he went out to buy food to try to get them some food, and ISIS took him away. She's still here because she's waiting for her husband, who's the little girl's uncle, to come back. So now she's just hoping that somehow he's going to return home. The people here are trying to get information as to which route may or may not be safe and where there are possible sniper positions. The sounds of battle are still all around, and just in being in this one small part of Western Mosul, one begins to get a little bit of appreciation for the intensity of the battle, just how terrifying it must have been for those civilians that were stuck here amidst all of this, and just how phenomenally massive the task of eventually rebuilding this city is going to be.
Just last week, the UK Parliament was beaming with Brexit activity, and a week before that, it was a scene of crime. This week, it was a sea and a scene of unity as the Metropolitan Police remembered their brave colleague killed in the line of duty. Faith leaders also came out to say again, "Not in my name," and ordinary citizens mourned 3 of their own who were mowed down on the bridge. They did it in silence and with flowers, and some wore T-shirts designed to reach out. Their motto, love for all, hatred for none. The campaign, I am a Muslim, ask me anything, started in Canada.
To see this horrible attack take place at a time where I was coming to London to attend a peace symposium was really heartbreaking. To land here and see all the Union Jacks were lowered was quite saddening.
And here, like you have in Canada, you have your faithful here in their blue T-shirts saying, I'm a Muslim, ask me anything.
That's right.
Why? Why do you feel the need?
I think, Christian, there's always a silver lining, right? I spoke of the horror we felt, but we also saw amazing humanity. The MP that tried to resuscitate the injured policeman. So there was humanity at every step. It is our principle to have sympathy for the whole of mankind. And I think our motto, which you see on the banners today, is a simple one, which says love for all, hatred for none. And I think in times of adversity, we want to show that solidarity. And I am a Muslim campaign is just to show people that here we are Muslims, but we are like you. And we want you to know that Islam is about love and compassion and not acts of terror.
When residents find a bunch of people in T-shirts saying, I'm a Muslim, ask me anything, what do? Do they laugh? Do they say, what are you doing here? Do they actually ask you important questions?
Well, just a moment ago, a lady who was here today said, can I hold your hand?
Yes.
And I think that was a very powerful symbol.
Exactly.
It shows the humanity of who we are. And that is why I mentioned that in Islam, we're taught service to mankind is part of your faith. And we're here to show precisely that.
You're with National EMTV News. Up next, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. In volleyball, the 3-day volleyball tournament at Gaba Gaba village in the Central Province went through quarter and semi-finals yesterday. Teams from Hula, Tubuseria and host Gaba Gaba met in the elimination rounds. Exceptional performances came from Gaba Gaba Team 1, Lakwas, Baptism Remnants and Just Waba.
Yesterday's quarterfinals saw 16 teams battle to retain a spot in the semis, 8 men's and 8 women's teams. In the women's baptism remnants, Lakwas, Gaba Gaba and Massa were the talk of the day with fierce volleyball action. And in the men's baptism remnants again, Diogolos, Gaba Gaba Team 1 and Hula Team Just Waba were the forces that kept the tournament from going into semifinals till dusk. The women's division saw exceptional highlights from Lakwas and Gaba Gaba as they fought their way to the grand final. Despite challenging opposition from the home side, the Tubuseria ladies, the Lakwas, toppled the scoreline with 2-1 win today. And in the men's division, the grand final saw Gaba Gaba's Diogolos take on Just Waba in stunning fashion. In the first set, visiting team Just Waba made their intentions known early with a 25-23 scoreline and claimed the set. The Diogolos responded in the second set that saw them to a 25-20 win that leveled the scoreline at 1 set flat. By the third set, the Diogolos were well on the way to victory, adding that set to the name as well. Late recovery efforts went begging as the Diogolos set the marks as champions and claimed the last set. Dinero Raiko, National, EMTV Sports.
To softball, the United Sisters beat the Bears 8-4 in the A grade of the Port Moresby Softball Grand Final today at the Bissini Diamonds. It was a tough match between both teams, with the United Sisters leading 6-0 early in the match. The Bears fought back to score 4 points but could not bypass the power of the United Sisters. At the end of the fifth innings, Bears were on 4 points while United Sisters on 8. United Sisters have claimed the 2017 women's title. Don't go anywhere. Trukai Sports continues after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To the NRL now, the Manly Sea Eagles beat competition leaders Sydney Roosters yesterday in a thrilling match. Both teams fought hard all throughout the match at the Alliance Stadium, but it was the Eagles who capped off their win with an 18-12 victory.
The home side 60, pretty much 60% to 40% winning mark.
They've become a force to be reckoned with in the NRL competition after defeating the Cowboys, Bulldogs and Roosters. Eagles were the first to register points after a penalty kick by Dylan Walker.
Centre third, sideline's been a different proposition, but he's put his side in front tonight.
Roosters then scored a try in their first attacking opportunity in the Eagles' half through Sean Kenny-Dow.
Full width of the field, clinical stuff by the Roosters.
The Sea Eagles struck back with a try after a skillful pass from fullback Tom Trbojevic.
What a brilliant pass that was!
The score was locked at 6-all at half-time. In the second half, Sea Eagles pressed early and got their second try from a brilliant grabber kick from Nathan Green. Roosters halfback Mitchell Pearce took on the line after to cross over to level the scores. But the Eagles had their last say after Dylan Walker raced to the try line to score the match winner. In the second match, the Cowboys faced the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Cowboys beat the Rabbitohs 20 points to 6. Elijah Levet, National, EMTV Sports.
To cricket, the Hebo Under-19 Garamuts have left PNG Shores for their week-long Australian tour. They will be playing 50-over matches against Sunshine Coast, South and North Queensland starting tomorrow. This is in preparation for the Under-19 East Asia Pacific qualifier in Samoa come August. The qualifier is the pathway to the 8th ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup. Surfers from around the world are up for Big Wave Awards, entering videos of the best ride and best wipeout from huge waves. The awards are to be handed out at the World Surfing's prestigious Awards Night Gala ceremony on April the 29th in the US.
At locations as diverse as Hawaii, Australia, Portugal and Mexico, surfers are riding huge waves, anything up to 78 feet. That's 23.8 meters high, and sometimes they fall off them too. Video of the best big waves has been released by World Surf League as surfers and videographers compete for 7 big wave categories. Prominent among the surfing spots is Nazar in Portugal, a location virtually known as a big wave break, until about 6 or 7 years ago when photographs emerged seeming to show the waves about to engulf the town. While some surfers like Ben Andrews, Lucas Chinaka and Billy Kemper are hoping to win the Ride of the Year award, others are in the running for the most spectacular failures. Imagine jumping off an apartment block with tons of water about to crash on top of you. That is big wave wipeout. Wipeout is one of the categories to be judged, and both the surfer and the videographer receive the money prize in the category. $5,000, which is equivalent to 15,000 kina, and $2,000 equivalent to 6,000 kina respectively. But only the surfer receives the bruises. Shane Saroya, EMTV World Sports.
Don't go anywhere. We'll have the weather details for the next 24 hours after these messages.
Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, worth doing with Dulux.
Here's a look at the weather for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby, cloudy periods with a chance of evening showers and thunderstorms. Daru, cloudy with a chance of some showers. Kerma, cloudy with a chance of some showers developing later. Cloudy with some showers and thunderstorms for Alotau, and cloudy with possible thunderstorms for Popondetta. To the Momasa region, Leh, cloudy with a chance of evening showers and possible thunderstorms with a top temperature of 31 degrees. A few showers developing in Madang, cloudy with showers developing in Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy with possible showers and thunderstorms in Lorengau. Fine, although cloudy at times for Kavieng. Mostly fine in Kokopo and Rabaul. Cloudy with afternoon showers and thunderstorms developing in Kimbe, and becoming cloudy with a shower or two for Buka in the autonomous region of Bougainville. And to the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy with a chance of evening showers and morning fog. And a look at the forecast for small ships for tonight and tomorrow. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerma, Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Islands, eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, Samarai to Cape Bogle to Finchafen and Vitia Strait, CAC Island to Long Island, Madang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo on the northern PNG Indonesian border, Manus and its western group of islands, New Island, New Britain and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And now look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea, seas slight with southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. Solomon Sea, seas slight with southeast to southwesterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas slight with westerly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, worth doing with Dulux.
And that's the way it is. This Saturday, the first day of April 2017. From the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.